where all the beds are. And as he does so, the massive being kind of floats down to where your guys' front of your ship is contacting the east. Reaches out his hands for it.
How are NPCs reacting to this?
All of them seem very nervous. Tammy, Mariah, and Agatha seem the most perturbed, and Raphael and Thorin are up front, and they're kind of on guard, but they also seem unfamiliar with this creature. The being reaches out and places both of his large blue hands on either side of the front of the ship, and the air kind of gains this energy, and your skin begins to tingle, and you smell this smell of burning wood.
Emus is going to kind of gasp out, "Who are you?"
And he doesn't seem interested in talking to you at all, as he focuses on what he's doing, and you can smell the smell of burning wood grow in intensity and begin to spread, circling as if it's wrapping around your guys' ship. Go ahead and make a perception check. So right underneath of his hands does seem to be smoking. And there's like wisps of smoke traveling this way, but that's all you see. And after a moment, the entirety of the ship is wrapped in this kind of burning smell, and you can hear like wood crackling. And then pulls his hands away, and Boogie, where his hands were, you can see like a burned in palm print of where his hand was, smoldering into the wood. Gives you a nod, turns, and begins floating smoothly and gracefully over to the floating city in the distance. The hell was that? Tammy yells out.
I have no freaking clue.
Thanks, baby.
You're welcome, honey. A test? What kind of test?
Mariah seems interested, and he's kind of looking over the edge over here at what happened.
Is the being just floating off in the distance? Like, can we still see him floating off?
Yeah, you can still see him floating off, but he's floating over towards the city. And once he reaches like a certain distance away, he seems to kind of slow down and wait a bit.
I guess we're following him.
You sure? Tammy yells out.
I think that person or that being knows who we are, so I don't think it was any sort of test.
Tammy yells out. How were we supposed to make it through? We couldn't penetrate the fog.
Well, maybe the thing that he did to the front of the ship.
All right, Mariah, and she looks over, and he begins drawing the runes as she steers the ship and turns and begins making its way slightly back and then forward with some force, and it penetrated straight through the fog. Begins to follow Planetar, who takes you guys up to as you guys fly through this fog, looking down, you appear to be over Cormanthor, and as you approach, it looks like there's this large floating city, kind of like the Shade Enclave, floating over the center, surrounded by this fog over Mitranor, and beneath, underneath the city, there appears to be more ruins of what once was Myth Drannor. On over. Yes. The city is here. Let me show you like a picture of kind of how it looks.
Were you posting that, Michael?
In Discord. 7 hours. So this isn't necessarily how Myth Drannor looks, but this is how like the floating city looks. Like it's powered by this massive mythalar that is keeping it afloat and surrounded by its essence, very similar to the Shade Enclave. And as you approach this area, like as you guys get deeper into the mist, it almost seems like this protective barrier seems to clear the more and more you get to the epicenter. And
Okay, so
beneath
this is
that,
not like an illusion or something. It's there. It's floating.
it appears to be, yeah. And as you guys get closer, you see the ruins of that city beneath of it, and there's figures moving about in the clearing in the woods below.
Does this look like something that would have happened recently? Because I mean, obviously we didn't hear any news about any floating city outside of the one we already knew about.
That's a great question, Seth. Let me pull you guys over. You do not know of this floating city, though. It is news to you guys.